Joining us now is a friend of the show, Keith Reed. He is the co-host of Run Till That podcast and contributing writer at The Root. Keith, look, we've been knowing each other for a long time, and we've talked about this personally. You've written about it. We've always talked about Colin Kaepernick around the NFL and around the world. He, of course, shine the light on racism within the NFL. To me, this right here is a game changer because it's a head coach with receipts. Do you think, though, this has a chance to force real change?
Um, I'm not terribly optimistic. I think that the NFL has incredible resources to be able to fight the system. One of the things you mentioned that I've written about this subject many times, one of the things that I've written going back a decade is that the Rooney Rule should have started first and foremost in applying to the ownership suites in the NFL. You're not going to make changes until you have changes in ownership. There are still no majority black owners in the NFL. So until you have that change, you're not going to see a change in hiring. The same way you don't see changes at the top of any American corporation until you get changes in the boardrooms and until you get changes in the executive suites and the people who hold the capital and make the real decisions. You're not going to see this kind of change.
So keep the timing. We know it wasn't an accident. Black History Month begins. The suit is filed. It goes public. Super Bowl, though, is a week from Sunday in L.A. How do you think the PR machine that is the NFL will handle it next week? We know they already put out a statement saying the suit lacks merit and they're all about diversity.
I think the NFL is going to do its best to play up the Super Bowl. I think it's going to do its best to play up the entertainment value of the game. I think it knows that a certain percentage of fans don't necessarily care about getting diversity in the head coaching ranks, and they're going to count on that. And I also think that they're going to do some window dressing behind the scenes. Mike, you've been to Super Bowls. I've been to Super Bowls. You know that there are plenty of parties and panel discussions. I'm sure they're going to pull together some panels where they get some high profile names and people to talk about diversity. They're going to tout the fact that they now have 7, I believe is the number after the hiring in Chicago, black general managers in the league. So they're going to have a well-crafted PR strategy as they move into the week, but they're not going to be able to entirely avoid the question. It's going to come up. Roger Goodell's going to be asked about it. All of the owners are going to be asked about it, and some of the players, as we've already seen, are going to speak about it.
Keith, here's the issue, though. We had 9 openings this offseason. 4 have been filled. It appears that the 5th is going to be filled any moment. Minnesota Vikings. All 5 of those so far, white head coaches, no black head coaches. We have 1 black head coach right in the city in which you're in right now, Mike Tomlin. Coach Flores says he's not going to sell out. He's not going to give up this lawsuit, even if he gets another head coaching job. What do you think that means? That he's going to stand strong, and he has the backing of ex-coaches like Hugh Jackson. Marvin Lewis has come out, and you hear some of the players, like we just said, Demario Davis just came out and spoke against him. What do you think that means that he has that type of backing when it comes to the NFL in this lawsuit?
I think it lends a little bit more credence and a little strength to his case. I think it helps him in the court of public opinion. I don't necessarily know that it helps him in the courtroom. You have to face a judge and a jury. And remember, all of those names that you just rattled off don't have the kind of power that we just talked about. None of them have equity stakes in any team in the NFL. Hugh Jackson and Marvin Lewis aren't currently head coaches in the National Football League. No other head coach in the National Football League currently, including Bill Belichick, who was named in the lawsuit, not named as a party to the lawsuit, but whose tweets actually kicked off, whose text to Brian Flores actually kicked off this whole thing and are screenshotted. He hasn't come out and said anything in defense of presumably his own friend as this moves forward. So, is that going to really make a difference? You're talking to people that he seems to have the most vocal public support on this issue are not people who have the kind of equity in the NFL to make the changes that are necessary.
So we know the suit is specific, right? The details are, well, they're horrible, but the 3 of us on this screen right now certainly understand the allegations and what he's getting at. But what's the end game here? We hear people talk about boycotting, Keith, and having our own thing as black people. What's the end game here when you have nearly all white owners and perhaps, well, it seems like they don't have the will to really show diversity.
I think that the most encouraging thing is that I've heard in the last 2 weeks about the NFL. There's a team that's up for sale. It's the Denver Broncos, which coincidentally is one of the teams that's named in this lawsuit. And one of the names that's been floated in terms of a possible new owner for the Denver Broncos is Robert F. Smith. He is the richest black man in the
Mm-hmm.
United States right now. He were to become the majority owner of a team, then I have some hope in terms of somebody being in the
Mm-hmm.
room. Now you're still only talking about
Mm-hmm.
one of 32 people. This was 1/32 of the ownership. But if you get a person in the room who has the ability to make decisions, like who's our commissioner, whether or not Roger Goodell's contract gets renewed, can we extend this Rooney Rule to ownership groups so that every time a team gets sold, there has to be minority equity or non-white equity partners at the table? Those are the kinds of things that are going to make real change. So that's the thing. That's the end game, as far as I'm concerned. You need ownership in that room. You need people at the table who actually have a say at these owners' meetings. You need people who have the ability to make some decisions that affect how the NFL actually operates. Remember, the NFL shares all of its billions of dollars of revenue among all 32
Mm-hmm.
owners. So the decision that one owner makes that impacts the majority of that revenue doesn't just impact his pockets; it affects everybody's pockets. Get somebody in the room who could make some decisions or help sway some minds in terms of changing what happens to the checkbooks and to the pockets. Then you can have some impact on what happens with the head coaching situation.
Well, even who gets to buy the teams are controlled by the current owners. You know, you
Both
got
the
to have the
owners.
majority to actually approve
That
the
part.
new ownership groups to even come in. So we'll see. Even if Robert F. Smith has the equity and the funds and the backing, we'll see if they allow him into the club. We'll see. Once again, we'll be watching. Thanks again, Keith, man. As always, appreciate you, co-host of Run Tell this podcast and contributing writer at The Root. We always appreciate your time, man.